Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my second episode of Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi Battles. This second match is a 6v6 match against Kai Guy, one of my friends on Facebook. And I know I have Scissor as my mascot in my intro video, and he doesn't get any love in this because he doesn't even make an appearance, so spoiler alert, I win. This is one of those matches that I like the team that he has, but the one problem with it is that it does not have a Pokemon that's going to be immune to Volt Switch. So I know right away I have the momentum because I can Volt Switch with impunity. If I were to get Scissor in, I could also U-turn. So he leads off with Glaucus, his Vaporeon, I guess maybe to scout what kind of a set I would use with his Protect. But there's really not a whole lot that he can do in this situation besides switch out to Zebes, his very awesomely named Ferrothorn. I Volt Switch out because I'm Scarfed. It's the safe move. It's the really non-consequential move because, again, no ground types, no Volt Absorbs, no nothing. So I bring in Sableye. I go for the Will-O-Wisp. Now, the problem with this situation is I was wondering to myself, is he going to predict the taunt and go for the Gyro Ball? In which case, I would go for the Will-O-Wisp. Or will that seem too obvious and he'll just go for the obvious Stealth Rock? Now, I managed to get both worlds right here. I get the burn off, I get the taunt off, and now his Ferrothorn, his Zebes, again, awesome name, is really crippled. It can't do anything. Its Gyro Ball really isn't that powerful anymore because of the burn, and he can't use rocks. So, what I know in this situation is one of two things. Either he's going to keep the thing in for death fodder, which I don't see that happening because he wants to get the rocks up, or whatnot. So I go for the knockoff. It gets rid of whatever item that he had on his Zebes, or whatever switch-in is crippled. So his Glaucus loses its leftovers. I go back into Megawatt the Rotom, and I'm fairly sure this thing's not going to protect this time, predicting the switch, so he goes for the Scald, which would have hurt if I went into one of my physical Pokemon, but Megawatt doesn't care too much. So he goes for the Protect again. Really nothing he can do here besides switch out, unless he just wants to sack it now. And I honestly would have advised that because I am in full control of the momentum here. So he goes into Haxorus. Sounds like an interesting store. And good thing for me because the thing has the Mold Breaker and it would have been able to take my Rotom out with an Earthquake. But again, I'm locked in to the Volt Switch. I have the faster speed, so I go back into Sableye. Sableye does a shit ton of work in this match. I love this Pokemon so much. And again, anti-meta. And it does quite a bit to this team too. So Will-O-Wisp gets rid of any chance this thing had of sweeping me. The burn, it still does a decent amount of damage, and that, I think, was minimum damage too. So despite the burn, it still does a decent chunk, but I'm hoping to myself, well, this thing probably doesn't have Dragon Dance, but I go for the taunt anyway. And it doesn't have Dragon Dance because, as I find out later on in the match, it's an Assault Vest Haxorus, which is an interesting option. I never quite thought of that before. But the problem here is that he cannot do anywhere close to half health, so he does not threaten Sableye, and he's about to realize what a feudal situation he's in because I get the priority recover. Prankster, Sableye, just awesome. It's the wall from hell. I pack it specially defensively, and I have the burn to alleviate any physical problems I might have. Obviously, fire types are a counter to that, which is why I have Tyranitar. And Heatran as well. But we're about to experience a double switch here because I see something's coming. Either he stays in and doesn't do anything, or he brings in something else. I know I have to get the rocks up. That Volcarona on his team is kind of not much of a threat with Heatran in the mix, but I want the opportunity to get some residual damage out anyway. So I bring out Brutalis. He brings out Seraph, his Volcarona. I bring out Brutalis, my Tyranitar. But it's not just any Tyranitar. It's a Mega Tyranitar! And what a Mega he is. And all he really does in this entire match is Stealth Rock. Bug Buzz, super effective. I'm not sure why it's super effective against neutral damage against a rock type, but whatever. I get the Stealth Rocks off, and I know one thing on my team is going to just be the bane of this poor Volcarona's existence, and that is my Heatran. And this is not just any Heatran who is quad resisted to the Bug Buzz and completely immune to the Fiery Dance. This is a special Heatran. This, my friends, is an Oblivia Heatran that's slow as ballsack, but it has Eruption, which it normally can't learn. And when you tack Eruption on with the Choice Specs and the Stabs, I don't care what you send in, it doesn't matter if it's a Vaporeon that's bulky, this is gonna hurt. And hurt it does. It doesn't quite put it into the red, but neither will the Sandstorm. I don't want to have any opportunity to lose offensive potential with the Eruption on this, so I switch out into the safe option of Megawatt. I know he's probably either going to go for the Scald or the Wish or something because he would have been faster than my Heatran, but I'm going to save that thing for later because it is going to wreck his Ferrothorn if the opportunity presents itself. His Glaucus uses Protect to stall out for the Wish. I do not fear this thing at all because there's really nothing that he can do because he always seems to be switching out of his Vaporeon when this situation comes up, this Rotom versus Vaporeon. So I know he's going to switch out. I go for the Volt Switch. Puts me into a situation where, hey, he's probably going to not like this because I send out Sableye. Now, by this time, I'm pretty sure he's wised up, because not only is the fact that Sableye is immune, not resisted, but immune to both the Psychic and Fighting Stab that Gallade has, and Zendatsu, really nice name, I didn't even mention that. But, so, also, half of his team is burned or is immune to burn because it's fire. So, I'm thinking to myself, Taunt's probably the best option here, and indeed it is, because it prevents the Quiver Dance from actually happening. If it even has it, I don't know. But, again, this is one of those situations where it was such an easy option, and I don't know why he goes for the Fiery Dance. Oblivia Heatran, Eruption, Choice Specs, Stab, Flash Fire boosted, high HP Eruption. This will be it for poor Glaucus. I don't care if it's not very effective. This will punch a hole through a goddamn tank. And indeed it does. So bye-bye, Vaporeon. You're the first casualty of the match. And now he sends in Haxorus. And even though he's burned, I really would rather not lose my offensive potential with that Eruption, so I'm going to switch out Heatran. I know he might possibly survive the Quad Weak Earthquake, even though he's burned, but I don't want to risk it, so I send out Scorpina, my Gliscor. And Scorpina, she really enjoys this matchup, because any kind of a burned Pokemon, she can pretty much set up a substitute with impunity, and not break the sub, so it's basically a free hit on whatever the next Pokemon is, because this burn's going to whittle away, and it really can't survive either Knockoff or Earthquake. And I go for the Knockoff here. Yeah, people might say, why would you reveal that? I really just want to see what the opposing Pokemon has, just in case I encounter it in future matches. So I go for the Knockoff. I find out that Haxorus does indeed have the Assault Vest. So obviously Dragon Dance was not an option to fear. So that's good for future reference. Now, he sends in Zendatsu. Maybe hoping that I go for a knockoff again, but I'm not going to because I know that Justified is possibly an option. But this is interesting to me because I go for Earthquake and I go first. And I invest a little bit into Gliscor's speed, but really, this is odd to me because it's an offensive Pokemon. I'm fairly sure that most Gallades should be faster, but this one isn't. And it's at that point that I realize, hey, why bother switching out? Why not just finish it off right here? He will get the free switch in, but it's bye-bye Zendatsu. Again, fun little name. Raiden would be proud. And what does he send in next but the freaking Drinking Bird that I hate so much? I hate the entire Porygon line. Porygon 2 and Porygon Z, I always seem to have a little bit of trouble in my matches against these things. So He gets the freakishly powerful special attack boost. He goes for the tri-attack. Nothing is going to survive that. So I switch into something that's not going to fear the tri-attack at all. Something that's immune to the normal type, Sableye. One last bit of work from the MVP of the match. Go for the Will-O-Wisp. I know it's specially attacking, so the burn isn't going to affect its offensive potential at all. I live with 17 life against the Dark Pulse. That is what happens when you have effectively only one weakness in the Fairy type. And you invest Special Bulk. Again, like I said, I rely on the burn to basically take care of the physical threats. And now, with the priority recover, I'm thinking, can I take one more hit? Because he's double dipping now. He's double dipping into his HP every turn. He's going for the Life Orb boosted attacks, and he's burned, so he's going to take quite a bit of damage every turn. And I live once more. I kind of press my luck and I go for one last recover, even though I'm thinking to myself, he's probably not going to survive it. It doesn't matter. Sableye, you did a ton of work. You burned half his team, and the other half you just made fear you with being immune to the double stab of Gallade. So, whatever. That wasn't the other half, but whatever. Sableye did work. At this point, Porygon Z is easily in KO range. I could have gone for Scissor and the Bullet Punch, but, you know, I didn't want to risk it, even though the match was well in hand at this point. I go for the Choice Scarf Speed and Volt Switch out, and there's only 2 members of his team left. The Volcarona is going to bite the dust as soon as it comes out, so there's really only 1 member of his team left. And it is Zebes, the Ferrothorn, and even though my Oblivia Heatran is slow, it's still faster, so let loose the fires of Norfair and KO Zebes. And with that, game, set, match. The last Pokemon is just a formality because of the Stealth Rock weakness. Boom! That's game 4-0. That was actually a really good match. I know it seemed kind of like a mismatch, but there were a lot of really good predictions on my part. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know in the comments and ratings what you guys thought of the video. If it's well received, I plan on making a whole series out of it. As usual, if you guys want to see more, subscribe to the channel, and if you want to battle me, the best way to contact me is on Facebook. With that said, have a good day, everyone.